Good day to the viewers and listeners. I'm Stacey Carmichael and this is the Progress Report. Today we're joined by Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, the Honourable Susan Rodrigues. Minister, it's a pleasure having you on Progress Report.
Pleasure being here. Thank you. Let me say season's greetings to you. Best wishes for the new year to you and your family and to all of those who are watching and listening.
Thank you very much, Minister, and same to you. Thanks. Now, yesterday, that would be Tuesday, the Dream Realized Housing Drive, it wrapped up for this year in Region 6 with some 3,600 persons benefiting from the house lot allocation. Could you provide us with an update on the initiative and explain to us how the ministry through the CHNPA was able to accomplish this task?
I'm sure. I'd love to. It was no easy task, Stacey, especially taking into consideration what we found at the ministry when we took office in August of this year. It is on record now that we inherited a system with 70,000 active applicants who are waiting for a house lot allocation. And this has been made part of the official record because it was a question that was asked by the former minister within the ministry, Annette Ferguson. She asked a question in Parliament and we responded in writing, stating the number of active applicants in the system as at August 2nd, 2020, when His Excellency was sworn in. And that figure is 70,000. So I don't know why the former minister would put that question to us, because it doesn't do her any favors in terms of her record. But it's good that we can let the public know that this is what was found, and so it forms part of the official record now. We are not daunted by that task. As you know, we have committed to distributing 50,000 house lots within our first 5 years. And so to break it down, it would be 10,000 per year. And we are certainly committed to that. We are doing an analysis of the applicants in the system now, putting them into categories and income brackets and giving priority cases and so on, and ensuring that we deal with the backlog. So we of high priority for us is ensuring that we allocate lands to those who've been waiting in the system for a very, very long time. And in Region 4, we were able to get rid of all of the backlog from the 1990s. In Region 3, it was up to 2010, I believe. And so that's the approach that we took with the Dream Realized Land Allocation Initiative. I'm happy to report, and as you just said, we achieved 3,600 allocations. We had set a target actually of 3,000 for our first 4 months, or for 2020, so that we can do 7,000 next year to meet our 10,000 target. So I'm very pleased to report that we have surpassed that target by allocating 3,600 for 2020 in new housing schemes. And you asked about how we achieve that. Well, Stacey, the staff they've been really incredible, and I must commend them. They've once we got to the ministry, they've been very cooperative, and they've worked really, really hard. We could not achieve this without their hard work. They sacrificed their Christmas and time with their family to ensure that they can give a Christmas gift of a house lot allocation to 3,600 Guyanese. And so that is very commendable of them, and I'm proud of the work that we've been doing at the ministry. I think our energy, myself, Minister Crowell, the CEO, the PS, I think our energy is contagious. And so the staff, they've caught on, and now they're inspiring us, because we can see the determination, on their faces, and the excitement to deliver. And, especially after 5 years of, allocating 7,000, just about 7,000 house lots over 5 years. And, the no less than the former minister has admitted to that. 7,000 house lots in 5 years, we have already half that amount, more than half that amount in our first 4 months, less than 5 months. So I think they're very excited that the work now is really having an impact on the public, and they feel like they're really doing something of substance now. And so we're very, very happy to have delivered this initiative, and we look forward to many more such initiatives in 2021.
Thank you very much, Minister. Now, apart from the Dream Realized initiative, which of course will continue into the new year, 2021, what are some of the plans for infrastructural development across the regions?
So, yes, so these allocations were made in new housing schemes. We have about 22, between 22 to 25 new housing schemes across the regions. And so we are preparing the budget right now for 2021. We will submit that very shortly. And you will see a massive infrastructure program to ensure that we deliver on these lots. Because what we want to ensure is that, when we allocate, persons can occupy their house lots. We want to encourage home ownership. You've heard that from His Excellency over and over again. You've heard that from us. It's not just about allocating house lots. We have a duty to provide the necessary infrastructure, roads, drainage, the water distribution network, electrical network. We have a responsibility to ensure that housing schemes are equipped with the necessary infrastructure, and not only infrastructure, but we want to make sure that communities are sustainable. Meaning we want to ensure that there are green spaces, there's playgrounds, recreational activities, commercial activities, industrial activities. All of these help to make a community wholesome. All of these help to make communities sustainable. And so there's a lot of planning that goes into these housing schemes. A lot of skill that's required. Like I said, planning to ensure that we zone properly, that we have zones for industrial activity, we have zones for commercial activity, so that none of this interferes with the residents who are occupying their lots there as well. And we want to encourage home ownership. 100% occupancy we're aiming for in our housing schemes. And so we've taken several steps to ensure that we promote home ownership. So we've met with several of the banks already. We've met with the Bankers Association to try to negotiate better interest rates and a mechanism in which we can send a list to the bank or the banks for those who have received their allocation, and then have the banks pre-qualify them so that people can know how much money they are entitled to, what the amount of mortgage that they can receive, so they can plan properly. So when they occupy their land, they can immediately commence construction. And our government, the PPPC administration, is a firm believer that the construction industry, it creates jobs and it stimulates the economy. So that is something that we are doing our part at the Ministry of Housing and Water to encourage and to support. We want to make sure people are employed. We want to ensure the retail stores, the retail hardware stores can get business, the contractors can get business, the carpenters, that we can put people back to work, and then we can stimulate the economy as well with the construction sector. So we are putting that in place. We're speaking to the banks, trying to negotiate better rates, and putting a mechanism in place so that when we send these persons on to the bank, there is a communication mechanism where if the bank requests information from us, we can respond to the bank promptly, and so that the allottee doesn't get lost in the system then. I said to those who were there at the National Stadium when I gave my presentation, I said, this is not the end of the road. We want to build relationships with our citizens, with the persons who come through our system. This is just the beginning. Your allocation is just the beginning of the journey. We want to work with you throughout your construction. We want to make sure that you have built your home and settled and is comfortable with your family. So we want to develop that type of relationship, and we want to change the culture at the ministry and in government. I think now the way we're going and the precedent that has been set by President Ali is we're a government for the people. We have an open door policy. People can come to us seek advice. The ministers are accessible, reachable, approachable, and we're visible, and we're ensuring that we respond to the citizens when they need us.
Thank you very much again, Minister. Now, in a previous interview, you mentioned that hinterland housing development is also on the cards. What can persons or citizens in those areas look forward to in the new year?
Sure. So the Hinterland Housing Program is one that we're looking to introduce in 2021. And it's a very important program, because even though we have land titling for Amerindian communities, we have to encourage them to be able to have their own homes as well, especially in those villages that have overcrowding. So in 2021, we're looking to bring this program on stream. We are currently in negotiation with an international bank to seek and to secure funding for this program. We're aiming to build about 500 houses, hinterland houses across the regions, 1, 7, 8, and 9. And the exciting thing is we're even going to include certain other communities that are not considered hinterland community, but are Amerindian communities nonetheless, and therefore they are entitled to any such benefit, such as Morocco. So we're trying to see if we can bring that program, that hinterland housing program, there as well. So we have that coming on stream, and like I said, we're looking to build about 500 homes, and this will also help to create jobs, because the way we're designing it is that the materials and the labor will come from within the villages. So this will help to really stimulate the economy and create jobs within those Amerindian communities as well.
Thank you. During this year, you have traveled to many remote locations and met with residents. You've listened to their concerns as it relates to access to drinking water, potable water. What are some of the plans for the water sector going forward? So
we found the GWI, Ghana Water Inc. It was in a pretty bad shape. The company needed massive restructuring. The company was bankrupt, is bankrupt. We're trying to ensure that we can restructure it in such a way and make it more lean and efficient so that we can provide better service to our citizens. When we left office in 2015, we had approximately 600 employees employed at GWI. When we resumed, when we took office on the 2nd of August, we found over 1,300 employees, so an increase of over 100%. And there was no corresponding benefit. We weren't hearing people complimenting GWI about the great service that they are now receiving from all of these additional employees. So we're looking closely at the company to ensure that, that we can at least break even and that we can deliver a better quality of service, a better level of service. So there are several communities, like you said, in terms of the water sector. A priority for me is to deal with those areas that are unserved, so have no access to water. And I didn't realize how close to home that would be. So when I went to some of the communities, forget the remote communities for now, just right in Region 4, Prospect, and in Region 3, Lust and Rust. Those are some of the communities that I visited very early, I believe since August, that had no water. So those persons had occupied their lots in 2018, have built their homes, were living there in Prospect, and had no water, in the line, no water coming to their homes. So that was a situation we had to rectify immediately. Same thing with Lust and Rust, and now Lust and Rust will get their own well. We did a temporary solution where we diverted water from elsewhere so that they can get immediate relief. And then we have budgeted for a well for Lust and Rust, so they'll get their own well. But we have, in 2020 already, expanded water systems in Region 1, Santa Rosa, Port Kaituma. We drilled a new well at Kurutuku in Region 7. There is a well ongoing right now in Region 8, Cheongmouth. It was really my desire to deliver that well to them for Christmas, but the weather was so bad and the rig got stuck for about 10 days on the trail. And so we weren't able to make the December 25th deadline, but they're there right now and we're close to completion. So that's Region 8, and then we drilled new wells in Region 9, in Culvert City, Lethem, in Shulinab, Shia. We're really doing a complete assessment of the hinterland regions as well as the coastal regions to ensure that we serve those areas that do not have access to water at all, and then looking to improve the level of service in areas that do have, and then of course we're looking at ensuring that we can deliver potable water or drinking water, because as it is right now, we are not in compliance with WHO standards in terms of iron content, and so we're way above the stipulated amount, and so we certainly want to rectify that. That is a top priority for us. And so we're aggressively pursuing that. And we've also been developing a dashboard for GWI to track the level of service, or the pressure, as we say, the pressure of water, so that we can know even before the complaints start to come in across the regions where the level of service has dropped, where we need to improve the level of service, because we really want to ensure that these utility companies, or at least the ones that come under our remit, GWI, can respond to the citizens efficiently, effectively, promptly, because that is something that people had complained bitterly about from the time we took office. My phone became like a complaints authority. People calling just for simple things to rectify leaks. That's something that could have gone, you call into GWI and it goes through the process and somebody picks up your complaint, gives you a reference number, and address the problem. It's a simple leak, but it can have dramatic effects. So because of leaks, that contributes to the drop in the level of service, and then people complain they're not getting good water pressure. But there's a leak that needed to be fixed. And then with the leak, then you get, contamination, and then the water gets discolored. So there are lots of things that if we don't rectify, if we don't start from the small things and we don't start to rectify them, it will become a bigger issue later on. So we are happy with the results that we've been seeing at GWI, and we have great things to come from GWI as well in 2021.
Thank you again, Minister Rodrigues. Now, in terms of the ministry's capacity, you've mentioned the staff going above and beyond and so forth. What will be done at the administrative level to improve the staff capabilities at the CHNPA specifically to meet the housing needs of citizens? So,
like I said earlier, I'm very pleased with the work that CHNPA has been doing. The staff have been very committed, and I was most impressed when I got to the ministry and realized that they have the capacity in-house to not only do infrastructural works, but to run the electrical networks and even the water distribution networks. But we cannot do it alone. With the mandate that we have given ourselves, 50,000 lots, and then out of that 50,000, we have said we want to build 20,000, roughly about 20,000 homes. We cannot do it alone at the ministry, even though we do as well have the capacity to build houses. The turnkey homes, as you know, has been part of our president's legacy when he was Minister of Housing. So even though we have that capacity, that capability, those skills, we wouldn't be able to meet our mandate if we do it alone. And this is why our public-private partnerships are so very, very important. And you would have seen the expression of interest that we had out for the construction of homes. And there's been tremendous interest in that EOI. And we are currently evaluating the submissions that were made by private contractors. And so we need their help and we need their cooperation in order to meet our target of building 20,000 homes and to do the infrastructural works, of course. to ensure that we deliver on our 50,000 lots. So that partnership is very, very important. But we will hold contractors accountable, and we will ensure that they build the way they construct their homes, that it will be in compliance with what we have. So we've done several things to ensure that they are in compliance. So one of the things we've done is to design the homes ourselves. So we've approved 3 models of the young professional homes, and we've said to them, look, this is what we want, this is how you have to build it, these are the specifications, and submit your estimate based on what we want. So those are some of the ways that we're going to ensure that persons receive quality work, because we don't want people to then, once they receive their house, then there are lots of complaints and then we have to go and rectify. We want to ensure people are comfortable, people are satisfied with the service that we provide, because at the end of the day we are accountable to the people. So that's one of the ways that we are ensuring that there is a quality construction and that people are comfortable. So in terms of the delivery, that's our public-private partnerships, and again this ties into our bigger goal of job creation and stimulating the economy and really pushing the construction sector to ensure that we fulfill our commitments.
Thank you, Minister. Now we are almost at the end of 2020, actually just a day to go. Yeah. What are some of the lessons you've learned at the ministry, and what do you think can be done differently as we move into 2021 to ensure that service to the people is efficient?
Well, I think, once we got there, one of the first things, we did, we stopped everything and we said, let's wrap our heads around what's going on at the ministry, what's been going on in government, because there was no real transition. We just went into office and we had to, pick up from where it was left off and ensure that we streamline our work now in line with our manifesto commitments, because, that's our guiding principle. This is what we went to the Guyanese public with, and this is what we're going to have to answer for in 2025. And people ought to hold government accountable. And so we had several meetings with staff, and we had to explain to them our vision. This is what we want, and you have to help us to accomplish this. We're in this together. This is a partnership. They have to work along with us. We have to work along with private contractors, and we have to deliver a service to the people. Our ministry is probably one of the ministries that interfaces the most with the public. And so we have to be very conscious about customer service, because people are there every day. It doesn't matter what day it was, Christmas Eve. People are there. People are there today. People are going to be there tomorrow, New Year's Eve, because there is this huge demand for affordable housing. There was this huge gap that was created over the last 5 years, and people had given up. I had somebody who came to me in Region 3 and said, I actually tore up my papers because I never thought that I would get through. I lost confidence in the system. I didn't think I would ever get through. And then the phone call came out of the blue, that you've been selected and you should come and receive your house lot, because they've been waiting so long in the system. So, and I said this to those persons in Region 6 yesterday too. I said, many of you who are here today, you have relatives, you have friends who you know are waiting for that phone call as well. Tell them that it's coming. Because if you look at our track record over the past 5 months, that should give, or it is my hope, that restores some public trust and confidence, not only in the Ministry of Housing and Water, but in our government, that we are serious about the commitments that we made, that we are serious about development, that we are serious about ensuring that the lives of ordinary people are improved in this country, that we are serious about staying grounded, about having community meetings, having community outreaches, and following up on those commitments. That is very, very important to people, Stacey. At least I've witnessed that in office, that even in cases where maybe something was beyond my control, or there was nothing that I could do at a set time, that people were so grateful that they could see the minister, that they could express their concern, and that at least they know that somebody is looking at their issue. That meant a lot to them. Even if you can't solve it right away or you know, on the spot, at least you listened and they felt like somebody is looking after our interests. And this is what we had to communicate to the staff as well. And the staff have been very, very receptive. And, you know, I'm proud of the work that they've been doing. And I think that when they see the faces of the allottees, people are in tears. And I think when they see the faces and the happiness that they have given to ordinary people, that helps to inspire them to work even harder and to work more effectively in 2021. And that's something that we will encourage, and we will support them in 2021 and going forward over the next 5 years.
Well, thank you, Minister. Now we're at the end of our program, and we've discussed a lot, and of course we look forward to another interview with you early 2021.
Sure.
Where we'll talk more about the plans and the projects going forward. I want to extend best wishes to you as well for the new year, and to the ministry and the staff.
Thank you very much, Stacey. Always a pleasure to be here.
Welcome. And thank you also to the viewers and listeners. This has been the Progress Report, and today we were joined by a minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, the Honorable Susan Rodrigues. Goodbye for now.